to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rachel. I'm a self-published author and a small business owner. And normally I do things like cash stuffings or vlogs. But I don't know. Today is obviously different. For one thing, I look like this. I apologize. I just got out of a therapy session. I've been in therapy for a little over 2 years now, and just had like a really good talk. As most of us do, the last like week or so, I've been contemplating like New Year's resolutions or 2025 goals and what that looks like for me and what do I want and all these things. And I made a vision board, and was talking to my therapist about it, and well, technically she's my coach, whatever. She's really good at calling me out on my crap. And I have not talked about this on my YouTube channel. I've talked about it on Instagram before, but never on YouTube. I have generalized anxiety, which I've had my whole life. I wasn't like actually like diagnosed or anything until I was an adult, but I definitely have had it my whole life. Can like very visibly throughout my life see when it has like come into play. And over the last 2 years of therapy, I've done a lot of work to... Anxiety is not something where you just like get rid of it and you don't have anxiety anymore. It's just something that you have to learn how to navigate. And over the last 2 years, I've done a lot of work to figure out how to navigate anxiety, and how to like prevent it from hurting me, which has been really hard, and a lot of self-reflection and a lot of practicing better habits. Like there's one thing that my coach and we always joke about is a couple of years ago when I had just started sessions with her, I had repainted this desk in my office. I painted it I think 4 times in like the span of 2 weeks because I kept hating the color, and then I ended up dropping some paint all over my new shoes and like had a mental breakdown. And so we always like will joke about the desk, because the desk was not about the desk. The desk was me having an anxiety attack about my life and reaching for control via painting the desk, which is definitely a coping mechanism of mine, reaching for control. And so like when I was experiencing anxiety on a more regular basis, it was probably 2 anxiety attacks a week. And anxiety, I don't know, emotional roller coasters look different for everybody, but some of the like hallmarks of them are similar. And for me, anxiety attacks felt like a hive of bees was in my chest. Like I was just like humming with energy and feeling very obviously anxious, but like very like overwhelmed, like this washing machine of thoughts in my brain that were just spinning way too fast for me to catch any of them and really like hold on to them. And what I would do to cope with it is I would get very motivated and very driven, and like I'm gonna fixate on this thing and I'm gonna do this thing, and this sense of like control and accomplishment will make me feel better. And it wasn't like a conscious thought like that, but that's instinctively what I did to soothe the anxiety. I've had a few anxiety attacks, a handful, not very many, but a few that were so bad that I actually lost the ability to speak while I was having the anxiety attack. Like I could not, it wasn't like I didn't have the access to my voice. It was like I could not articulate words about what I was feeling or even what I wanted or anything. And I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, I couldn't speak to anybody, I couldn't like even exist, because it was so overwhelming and oppressing that I would just sit there. And my brain wasn't even thinking about anything specific, because there was too many things spinning in my mind too loudly for me to do anything. And it sounds like insanity because it feels like insanity. And I remember telling my coach that when I would have an anxiety attack to that level, to me it felt like, when I wanted to explain it to somebody after the fact, it feels like anxiety in general to me feels like there are two versions of me in my head. There's one who's very logical and rational and understands reason, and then there's one who's very emotional and very reactive, and the one who's logical is tied up, so she can't do anything, and she's just sitting there like frozen because she can't do anything, while the one who's reactive is walking around the room, taking books off of shelves and ripping pages out and kind of manic. And I know it sounds like I should be institutionalized when I say that, but that is how it feels. It's very overwhelming. And I remember when my anxiety was worse than it is now, I would tell my mom that whenever I would have an anxiety attack, which like I said was like 2 times a week, I would legitimately think to myself that if somebody could promise me that if they cut off my arm I would never have an anxiety attack, I would gladly let someone cut off my arm, because it was hell. It was miserable to have an anxiety attack. I would not wish that on my worst enemy. It's horrible. But I say all that to say that through the last 2 years of consistent weekly and now bi-weekly therapy, it's not that I don't have anxiety anymore, but I handle it differently. And it doesn't control me in the same way or like paralyze me in the same way. And so I very seldom have anxiety attacks now. It's more of a very flow type of thing where it's just this up and down of normalcy, basically, where you have moments of panic and then you come back down. And it's not like with anxiety, it's almost like you're surviving on a drug of like this thing that keeps you at this high where you're at a very high functioning state where you can accomplish a lot, because the anxiety, its fear motivation, is motivating you to get a lot done to make the anxiety go away. And it's a very unhealthy coping mechanism, but it's one that I have lived by for 27 years, and now I'm 2 years out of it, although I would say it's the last 6 months that have really been the best. And so now it's a lot better. But all that to say, I'm getting somewhere with this point, I promise. Since about, if I were to be honest, I would say pretty much the entire year of 2024, I've been depressed on and off. It's been the last like 5 or 6 months that it's been worse. And I've had like seasons of depression where like my freshman year of college was hell on earth, one of the worst years of my life, and I was depressed a lot. Or like the year that I taught elementary school, and I was, physically in the classroom and stuff and working with really horrible fellow teachers, that was also pretty miserable. But this is the first season of depression that I've had that's lasted this long, and that I have not had anxiety to pull me out of it, because before, when I would feel big feelings like depression, or the feelings that bring on depression, I would immediately switch into anxiety to shut it down. Because if I can be busy, I don't have to feel the icky thing. And if I can be busy and if I can accomplish something, maybe I can make that bad feeling go away by soothing it with this new accomplishment or this thing that I'm controlling and doing. And since I'm not doing that anymore, and I'm not leaning into anxiety as a coping mechanism, it's meant that I've been depressed now for like 6 months, and very tired, like abnormally tired, and it's been really hard, to be honest. It's not like having a regular illness where you can tell someone, oh, I have pneumonia, and they automatically go, oh, okay, I'm sorry, yeah, you really need rest. When you tell someone that you're depressed and you need rest, people tend to not really take it very seriously. Not because they're being cruel, but because they just don't really have any experience with it themselves, so they don't understand like the gravity of it. But that can be really difficult. So the last few months have been hard, and like my coach and I were talking, depression is not like a constant sadness. You can feel okay and like pretty much normal, but just disconnected and like slightly, almost like everything is behind glass. Like you can't quite reach everything, and you're not motivated to get anything done. And I know motivation is like a buzzword that everyone thinks they have like a solution of how to get motivated or whatever. but it's difficult to find motivation when you're depressed. And it's just, I don't know, it's this weird kind of like funky season of back and forth and not feeling horrible most of the time, but just feeling off and not yourself and disconnected and really tired. And it's very frustrating because people want you to explain it to them, like, well, why are you depressed? Well, what triggered this or whatever? I don't know. Usually you don't know until after the fact, until that season has passed and you go, oh, that's what I was dealing with, or that's what I was processing, or that's what I learned from that experience. But when you're in it, it's really hard to unravel all of it. I actually don't know for sure that I will have an answer after it's over because I haven't gotten there yet. I have been assured that it will end eventually, and it cannot go on forever, but it has sucked, and I am really sick of being depressed. And so, especially since we're coming into the new year, I've been in the mindset that, well, I'll just work myself out of it. Like, I'm sick of being depressed. I'm sick of honestly being like a financial leech and not being successful and struggling, clawing my way to get somewhere success-wise and not getting anywhere near where I want to be. And I'm not reaching for a certain like goal of how much income I have. I'm reaching for, I want to own a home, and I want to have a horse because I miss having horses, and I want to be completely independent, which are all really lovely things and there's nothing wrong with them, but unfortunately they require money to get there, and I don't have said money to get there right now. And so I was like, okay, I'll just buckle down. I'll start cleaning and decluttering, and we're just gonna get serious. I'm gonna start working really hard. And as I was talking to my coach today, I was like, I think I'm trying to trigger the anxiety so that it'll motivate me to get going. And she was like, well, but she's like, that's, probably true. She's like, but that's really cool that you could like identify that while it's happening. I was like, yes, it is cool. I wish it felt better. So part of my plan was, I was sitting here last night writing down goals and thoughts and ideas over the last like 5 days. I've been doing that, and had all these plans for, or like trying to make plans. I didn't have all the plans figured out, but trying to make plans for, okay, how can I schedule my days for it to make sense to me that I actually get stuff done, because I feel like I'm not getting anything done these days. And how can I, elevate my business, or get not lots, but more success on YouTube, enough that I can actually start making an income so that I can save up to get a place. Or how can I elevate my author career so that I'm making more of an income so that I can save up to get a place. And there's lots of great ideas going on in my head and lots of fun things that spark some creativity and some interest. But there's also just a lot of pressure and perfectionism, and it's not very much fun. So, as I was talking to my coach, I didn't make any like definitive decisions where she's like, you should do this, and then I was like, you're right. It's more just as we were talking, I started to realize some things emotionally. One of the things she said to me was to follow my spark. Like, when I feel my creativity has been triggered by something, or my excitement has been triggered by something, or I feel motivated about something, to follow that and to leave behind the things that are dragging me down, or things that I feel like I'm supposed to do because other people do them, or because somebody said I should, or because that thing has been successful even though I hate it. So I even wonder like if I'm going to post this video or not, just because I feel like I don't have an exact conclusion about it all. But I'm having a hard time with the small business. Writing is a pretty straightforward game. You can market it all you want. You can do all the things to try and make more money, but really it's a pretty straightforward game. If you write a good book and you package it well, eventually it will sell. It takes time, but eventually it will sell. And so I feel fine about books. I mean, I've published 9 now, so I don't feel at all nervous about publishing more or feel like I need to take classes or anything like that. Like, I feel very confident about what I'm doing. It's the small business end of things that I feel very insecure about. And I don't know what I'm going to do exactly, so I don't want to like say exactly that I have a plan and then go back on that plan. But I think I'm going to continue doing cash stuffings because I like them. They're really easy to film in the sense that I don't have to plan a script or anything. I don't have to figure out, oh wait, what am I going to post this week, because it's another cash stuffing. You film them and you post them, and it's, in that sense, it's very straightforward, which makes it much less stressful, and I enjoy them. So I'll keep doing cash stuffings because I really like them. But I took the website down for the moment. It's temporarily under maintenance because I'm trying to figure out what I want to do moving forward product wise. I like creating things that are helpful to people. I like creating tools that can make something easier or make something more fun. Marshall, my Great Pyrenees, is laying down next to me, and he just like has been napping. He just woke up and he has a major bedhead. They're so cute. Anyway, I like creating tools. I like creating things. I like product creation is probably my favorite part of the job. Other than writing, it's probably my favorite thing to do. I could just sit here and make up products all day, and it's so much fun. It's the creation of the product, like actually manufacturing it, that's really stressful. When I can have something ordered and shipped to me, it's a lot easier. Like with planners, where I can have somebody print it and they ship it to me, and then I don't have to do anything other than like hole punch it and send it to somebody. That's great. That doesn't stress me out. But when I have to create something, like I have to print the vellum, and then I have to cut the vellum perfectly, and then I have to laminate it, and then I have to cut that perfectly, and then, oh, nope, that one had a bubble in it, I have to throw that one out and redo it. Or, nope, that one still had a black line on the edge that I didn't cut off, I have to throw it out and redo it. And it's hours bent over a cutting board. I hate it so much. It's so exhausting. It's not fun. I like designing the product, but physically making something with my two hands, no. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore, and I don't even have that many orders, and I can only imagine if things were to pick up, the volume of I can't. There's no way. I don't know how people do it all the time. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's exhausting. So I don't know exactly how things are going to look moving forward. I'm going to keep the shop, and I'm going to keep making things. There are things that like I enjoy that I don't have to physically manufacture myself. I can design it, send it off to someone, and they make it and send it to me, and that is totally fine. So like there are lots of things that I'm going to continue making that are of that avenue, which is a lot easier, like planners and inserts and dashboards and notepads and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of the cash stuffing things, I don't want to make them physically. So I'm trying to figure out what that's going to look like. I like designing them. That part is fun. I get ideas about stuff like that all the time. But then I'm like, I would have to physically make this, and that would be kind of hell. So I'm trying to figure out how to make that work. I definitely think I'm going to do digital downloads. I'm going to make all new digital downloads for everything for the new year, so that if you want to print it out yourself, you can. I would like to figure out a way. Cash envelopes probably is not going to happen. At most, no. I was going to say at most. I did order some cash envelopes that are like, they're the PVC ones that are like the frosted, so they don't have anything on them. There's no words or anything. And then I could do like, I guess, or you could, it wouldn't be that hard. Like I guess if you wanted me to make it, I could like make the cash envelope, like design it on Canva, whatever your custom words are, and then you could download it as a PDF and print it yourself and slip it into your envelope. I feel like that would be the most that I would be comfortable doing, because even to print out a tracker, like a savings challenge or like a placeholder or anything, there's so many steps involved, and there's so many like quality checks that I have to do to make sure everything's perfect, and so much of it gets thrown out because it's not perfect. And it's a huge cost of time and energy and materials, and I'm not enjoying it, like the actual physically making part. So I'm definitely gonna do digital downloads. I'm not sure about the rest of it. I'm having a hard time finding anybody who can print all of these things like on just like heavy cardstock paper, rather than it being vellum. I'm having a hard time finding anybody who can do it in the exact dimensions. Like, I know U-printing, is it U-printing or up-printing? I don't know. U-printing does have, like, custom dimensions, but their shipping is astronomical. There's no way. So I'm going to keep looking at different options and see what I can come up with, because I do have more ideas for different things for budgeting and for writing materials and planning materials. But I think moving forward, I am just going to have them made by other people, because I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm exhausted. It's the most exhausting thing to do. And I don't like to say that, because it feels a little bit like a failure to say it out loud, and I don't want anybody to be upset or disappointed. But it's just, I just can't. And right now, with having been depressed and trying to follow the spark and trying to figure out how to actually get things done and accomplish things within reason and actually take care of my mental health at the same time, I'm no longer interested in doing things that I don't enjoy. I'm just not. Like, I don't say that as I'm only interested in having fun. Like, I'll tell you right now, being a self-published author is freaking hard. It is hard, and there are a lot of parts of it that I don't want to do or I don't enjoy doing, but I do them because as a whole, I enjoy self-publishing and I enjoy writing. So those tasks that I don't enjoy are worth it to me. Versus, like, because, like, let's say formatting. I don't like formatting. It's not fun. But it's a step versus writing the book is the majority of it, and then the formatting is the step at the end. That takes a long time, but it doesn't take even a fraction of the time it takes to write the book. Versus physically making the products is a constant thing doing every day that it's not like it's a little piece of the job, it is the job. So I'm just not interested in habitually or consistently doing things that are miserable. Life is short, you know? It's short, and very little of it really ends up mattering at the end of the day. I mean, we're all gonna die, guys. And you don't get to take any of it with you when you go. So I don't understand the point of being miserable for the sake of keeping up appearances or for your ego or for money. I want to make more money. I would love to. My dream of a farm is out there. It's just a ways away. But I am not willing to make myself miserable to get there. I've done it already. I've killed myself writing books really quickly in order to try and make more money. It did work, but I'm not doing it again. So that being said, that's basically my spiel. I do want to make another video about goals in a little bit, maybe next week or something, when I have things a little bit more kind of, I don't want to say organized, but whittled down. But I just kind of wanted to share where my mind's at right now, because yeah, I'm feeling a lot of things. Actually, I was going to cry before I started filming this. I started filming and then I didn't feel the urge to cry anymore. Because yeah, it's just overwhelming, and there's this thing of not wanting to let people down or feeling like you're failing, especially feeling in front of people is really hard. So, but, I mean, my gosh, should there really be a punishment for just evolving and realizing that something doesn't work for you anymore? I think that's completely appropriate and normal and healthy and human, but, so yeah, I do think, and I'm not making any promises about anything, because I'm really just following my gut here. I do think I'm going to continue making budgeting things. I am going to actually today go through my envelopes and my system and see what is actually working for me and what isn't, because I think sometimes we overcomplicate cash stuffing, and we don't need to. That's a whole other story. So I'm going to continue making things. I just have to figure out a way to make them in a way that's sustainable for me and enjoyable for me. Because I like coming up with product ideas, but I do not, and I like designing them, but I do not like physically making them. Nope, we're not doing the laminating, cutting, all the things anymore. I'm done with it. I'm so tired. I haven't even done a fraction of the amount of some of the other people have done, and I'm like, no, we're done with it. So anyway, that's my spiel. And I guess the moral of the story is, A, this website is down right now, and going into 2025, I don't know what's going to be on it until I really get into it, and I don't know how fast it'll be, because like I said, I've been depressed and my energy is very low. So I will work on it as quickly as I can, but I'm also not going to like bend over backwards trying to make it work faster than my brain is really ready for. And I guess that's also my message to everybody else, is if you're in a season of depression, or you've been feeling off and you haven't been calling it depression, but you just been feeling off and not quite yourself for quite a while now, there is no magic cure. You don't get to just magically snap your fingers and suddenly you're motivated and you're getting everything done, because that's just a lie that you're telling yourself, that, oh, okay, if I do this, I'll feel better. It doesn't work that way. You really do just have to let your body and your brain both heal and process and rest at their own rate, which sucks. It's not like it's fun, but it is just a part of being human, is that you just have to ride these waves out. You can't try and, it's like trying to bottle up the ocean. Like, it's a waste of time. Don't do that. Just ride the waves. If you feel like you need to rest, rest. If you feel inspired, do the thing. And then when you're like exhausted, stop and then rest. And then when you feel inspired again, do it again. Like, there are certain things that we have to do, like bathe and eat and make sure our house is at least clean enough that there aren't rats. But beyond like the very bare minimum basics, there are seasons of life where you don't have anything else to give, and that's okay. And you might have people in your life who don't understand why you're experiencing this or how to help you through this, and that's okay. It's, you know, it's not that they're bad people, they just don't have the tools for it. So try to be patient with them and be patient with yourself, and know that you are definitely not alone. I'm right there with you. We're gonna get through it. It's gonna be okay. And if you need a pick-me-up, one of my favorite songs right now is by Joshua Bassett, and it's called Look How Far You've Come. And every time I feel sad, I listen to it. And I don't feel magically better, but I feel a little bit better. So anyway, that's all I have to say today. That turned out to be a very long spiel. But anyway, I will be back with more cash stuffings at the very least in 2025. And as for the rest of it, I'll let you guys know. So anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.